don't have to go very far down the trail, only about 300 meters, and then you hit kind of a crossroads here. And if you stick to the left side, you'll be out towards Rockbound Lake and Tower Lake, which is on the far east side of Castle Mountain. That's where we're going today. But if you decide to go on the right side, there's Silverton Falls. There's a canyon where there's a little creek and there's a little waterfall and a trail that leads all the way down there. We obviously don't have time to check out both of them today, but now that I know this is here, we might come back and do a series of waterfalls in Banff for you guys to enjoy, and this would be probably an easy waterfall for anybody to come and check out. Let's head on out on the trail to Rockbound Lake. Don't do this, guys. If you bring dogs, pick up after them, or don't bring them in the mountains at all. And I've heard of stories of it, oh yeah, somebody's gonna pick it up on the way back. They always leave it there, because you find them on almost every single hike. Don't bring dogs in the mountains if you can't take care of them. We are heading up to explore the east side of Castle Mountain. You could spend an entire day hiking around here, that's for sure. 7 kilometers to get to like the first lake, so you kind of veer around this big ridge that comes all the way down to the bottom of this valley. And then once you go around said ridge, you can go in behind, and then you can go up, and then you'll find a series of lakes. The trail itself is a bit reminiscent of Stuart Peak, how you can go around and then you'll hit a bunch of lakes. There also seems to be like some sort of a head wall in behind the lake, and it looks like there is a scrambling route perhaps all the way up to the top of Castle Mountain. So because I'm filming, we're a little bit slower than normal, so I don't know how long I have. If you go all the way up to the top of Castle Mountain, you're looking at in the high 20s for kilometer wise. So we're gonna go as far as we can today. It's quite the popular trail because at 8:30 in the morning on a Sunday, that little parking lot, we took the last parking spot. So if you're someone who likes to do hikes alone, then this is the perfect kind of hike because you're gonna see other people and you don't have to be in a group necessarily. You'll definitely find lots of people down here. We're around the 4.5 kilometer mark here, and there's this nice little boardwalk. We're close to where the trail basically turns around. So you go all the way to the end of the ridge and then you turn back towards the east side of Castle Mountain. More than the halfway marker, it's kind of like, oh, you're around 2.5 kilometers away from reaching the little Tower Lake. And you're probably only about 2 kilometers away from getting out of the trees, and then you can start looking at mountains instead of just staring at pine trees the entire time. And we are on the far side of Castle Mountain. So we're kind of stuck in between Helena Peak and Castle Mountain, this big valley over here. And then there's the little creek that flows down at the bottom. And I stopped here because this is the first time of the whole hike. You can see that behind me there. And that is Eisenhower Peak. It's kind of part of Castle Mountain, but it's kind of detached because there's like a big gap in between. It's like the very first portion of that whole mountain range. Very, very impressive formation. I don't know if you can get up there without mountain climbing, but it'd be a pretty crazy view up there, that's for sure. If you come over here, this is kind of like a little mini ridge here. On the other side, you can finally see that's the ridge of Helena Peak, which is kind of further down, but if you can, I think you can walk all the way up on top of the ridge and come all the way out to here. Let's go check out the lake. I'm sure we'll have some better views to show you guys at Tower Lake. Once you're here, then you're kind of in like an open meadow. It's quite the spot because you can tell there's a head wall that runs around the entirety of the lake. So it's just all sunken down. And there's like a little lake here, and there's one little path on the other side. The complete other side of that lake is where we're gonna go to actually cross over to the other side. There's Rockbound Lake that's on the top of that head wall that you can see behind me. There's also a path you can keep on going. And at the very back over there where you can see, you can go all the way up to the top of that on Castle Mountain. It's super cool. So even if you come all the way up to this lake, it's definitely worth it. It's too bad there's a lot of trees here, but it's not that bad because you can get kind of a good view, kind of a good 360 view. So I'm gonna try to show you guys a decent 360 view of this whole Tower Lake here right now. Trail that runs in behind Tower Lake. It's pretty well defined, fairly easy to get to, and you get a couple little spots as you're going up. You get some lookouts, and you're just kind of doing one big switchback, kind of going west. It looks like there's a little trail you could head down and just have a little picnic if you wanted on the other side of Tower Lake. Well, that's one way to cool down in the summer. Our water's cold. That was really refreshing. Now this is the gorgeous Rockbound Lake. Doesn't look anything like I would have imagined it. It's got a little tiny little peninsula at the far back, and most of it is surrounded by a gigantic rock wall. You get all these layers in different colors. There's barely any dirt here. I get why they call it Rockbound. This is all just like rock all over, even the shallows here. It's all rock. As I was lifting rocks, some of the smaller ones where the big rocks were, there's water stuck underneath. And that was actually causing a whole lot of mosquitoes to come out, or flies, or whatever you want to call them. I lifted up one of the rocks here and I seen a tiny, tiny little shell. Like a snail? I guess there's snails in here? But this looks kind of natural to the place here. You can walk around the entire coast, and it looks like there's a trail that wraps all the way around. And at the very far back over there, there's like a little switchback trail that leads all the way back up to the top So we're gonna go up there to see if we can get a better view of this lake. It's very enjoyable, and I hope that everybody who comes and visits Alberta comes and visits these places, because this is pretty magical. Every single place in all of these national parks, you'd think that they're all the same, and when you get there, they're all different. It's kind of crazy, kind of wild. That was quite the jaunt upwards. I think we just gained like 150 meters of elevation gain here in a short amount of distance. If you want to climb up here, definitely a scramble. So have good boots and good equipment. Poles helps significantly to, I mainly use them on the way down, not even on the way up. But the head wall is kind of right in front of me there. As I see a trail that goes from the front here, and it keeps going up, and it goes, loops in behind. All of this is in behind me here. You can go all the way to the far end and come back, and all of these ridges, there's actually one mountain over there, and there's another mountain over there, and you can go all the way across this ridge here. Like, you could hike back here for like a long time. It was definitely worth the trek up here with the views. You can see another peak at the very far back over there. It's cool. It's smoke season, but it's easing up a bit. So there's still a lot of smoke, but it's pretty mild. So you can still get a good view of some of these mountains at the distance. But this is Rockbound Lake from above. Goes to show how much time these videos take. We've been hiking for 6.5 hours, and it's 4 o'clock. So technically it should take us 6.5 hours to get back, but we only have 4 hours of daylight left. So it's gonna be faster coming down, but we still have to turn around, which is kind of sad. So I need to come back here at one point and then just skip this whole part and then get up here. And that is Rockbound Lake here in Banff National Park. And I'm Eric Tremblay, and this is my Sunday office. Peace out, everyone.